Hi guys, welcome. PremierTalk TV. I'm here with Kelmans. Say hi, Kelmans. Here we go.
Hello,
Parker and Baran. So we have a nice selection of different fans, although Kelman and I up top with the Man United fans. Depressing as usual. Speaking of that, jumping straight into things, we're talking about match week 8, the game that's just went past. United at home. How did it go? McTominay came to the rescue. Knight in shining armor. Kelman, talk to me. What do you think?
Yeah. At the end of the day, all we needed more than anything was a result. Wasn't the prettiest game. We had our moments. Huge substitution. Came in, I think, 87th.
Yeah.
Scored the 93rd in the 95th minute or something like that.
Something like that.
I mean, McTominay, that was as clutch as you can be. Classic Fergie era goal. And moment, but still overall a lot of work to do. Onana gave up another.
It wasn't good.
It's like every shot on target's an automatic goal.
Yeah,
so apparently we can't give up any shots if we want to win.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought surprisingly Maguire had a good game. He was solid in the back. He came up clutch with an assist as well.
Yeah.
But still, the moment that changed the game is Rashford getting subbed off in Garnacho.
Yeah, I remember we were watching it and you text me and you were super excited.
Yes.
Baran, do you know about Kelman's hatred for Marcus Rashford? Has he told you about this? I feel like if you know him, you must have heard about it.
He's right with me on it, though.
We share the same hatred for Marcus Rashford. We're in the same boat.
But Rashford did so well last season.
Yeah, he's been good, Parker. Parker, you're using your brain. I'm using my brain. These two are not. So there's nothing we can do about that.
I think it's it's Eric Ten Hag that's kind of holding him down a little bit, but I think that's with the entire club, not just Marcus Rashford.
That's fair enough.
Anyway,
yes, fair enough. Doesn't mean that McTominay's done enough for I guess after the international break. It depends on all that kind of stuff. But what do you think, Kelman? Does he need to be in there? He scored 2. I mean, it's hard to ignore that, but he also came on the 87th, so it's not like he played a long time.
I honestly don't think he'll get in there unless we change up the formation. But we have a lot of guys coming back. Our midfield is kind of I don't want to say stacked, but there's just a lot of people in there.
Now we've got people coming back. It's a little bit better, right? Yeah.
But the only way is if he decides to put Mount or Bruno on a wing and then add that extra midfielder in there. So if he wants to go something like that, then sure. But I see him coming on earlier though. 65th, 60 to 70th minute, he'll come on, see if he can provide that spark again a little earlier.
Yeah. To be fair, like we said, we talk about fantasy. I mean, he's a pretty cheap player to pick up on fantasy, and if he's getting points playing games, it's not a bad shout there, to be fair. Okay, Baran, you got to talk to me about Liverpool. So it must have been a frustrating week for you guys, yeah?
Yeah, frustrating couple weeks for us. I mean,
good
game. We went down early, which is always tough, but obviously end of the first half, we bagged 2 goals with Mo Salah. And I thought we did well. I think the moment that changed the game for us was Gravenberch, that miss. I mean, Szoboszlai with a beautiful ball across the box. Just tap it in, right? Tap it in, go and celebrate with the fans. But I felt like if we score that, we go up, 3-1 at that point? I think the floodgates open, and I think we might finish that game 4-5-1. So for me, that was a huge turning point of the game.
What about Brighton? I thought Brighton looked pretty good when I was watching it, and I thought Joao Pedro had that one where he skied it from right in front, could have won it in the last couple of minutes, I think. So fair to say it could have gone both ways, really. Brighton not bad though. Brighton's still doing well. Yeah. Anyone? Any thoughts on Brighton?
Yeah, I mean, unfortunate on our end to miss, but then lucky again on our end for them to kind of miss a golden opportunity right at the end of the game. I mean, they played well, obviously. Coming off a tough loss that they had last week, we knew they were going to come out with some fire under their belly. But I mean, give them all the credit as well. I think coming back from a game like that to come and perform against a team like Liverpool, it's obviously big time, and that was obviously a little bit of an outlier for them. And they showed that they can play against any team in the Prem.
Yeah,
they're gonna definitely be up there for sure. Brighton, I mean, up in the top 5, 6.
They're definitely being consistent.
Sorry, I was going to say Brighton's that team where a 1-goal loss or a 5-goal loss is the same thing to them. So they're going for it. At all, they're going for it. They don't care. And it proved, it showed. Like you said, I think if Gravenberch scores that goal, it's a 4 or 5-1 game. But he misses it, and then Brighton comes out with a draw.
Yeah. It's interesting. Liverpool probably one of the better high pressing teams in the league. They've been like the standard for a while now with Klopp. So I think it's what both of those goals, the pen and the other goal was a turnover. I think from them playing out, right? Brighton, you just catching them. That's huge because you've seen them just playing through other teams and playing through all the way through. I mean, they played through United a fair few times. So Liverpool just like managing to get that press right, strangling them, getting those 2 goals, which was massive because it looked like Brighton were in control. But like you said, Kelvin, I think that those games are so momentum can go any way with Brighton. They start playing well and they can score 5. They can concede a few like we saw the other week. So yeah, definitely something interesting with them now.
Two explosive offenses though. Both those teams can score a lot of goals at will.
Yeah, Kelvin, you picked Liverpool to do quite well this year, I think. So
I did. They're my champs this year.
Yeah,
I feel like every game is so important. Sorry.
No, go for it,
James. I was just gonna say, I think every game is so important. No matter if you play Brentford, Bournemouth, you know, like I'm just happy the way like the table's shaping up because we're not just chasing Manchester City 10 points off, you know, just trying
Spurs fan sitting at top of the table saying he likes the way it's looking. Yeah, fair enough.
Well, I am liking the way it's looking, but I still think Manchester City are the team to beat still. I mean, obviously they have some injury problems and stuff. But anyway, we'll get into that. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt that. I just wanted to
no problem. So while we're there, Parker, talk to me about Spurs. 1-0 away, tough place to go. Luton. How many can Luton hold? It's like 10,000 or something small.
Yeah, it's a really small stadium. But there's a lot of positives from it, right? Like we were down a man. You know, we showed the resiliency to come out with a win still. I know it's against Luton, but still they still showed, you know, quality. And you know, we had to play defensively for a bit, but honestly, we had the ball for a lot of the game. So but honestly, the Luton win was good, but I'm not getting ahead of myself. Okay, I'm going to keep my feet on the ground and say, you know, 3rd, 4th, maybe. Yeah. I mean, because there's just so many question marks with Tottenham, right? If Maddison gets injured, who's going to create our goals? Son, if he gets injured, who's going to score? We don't have a goal scorer other than him. Yeah. Richarlison can't score goals. Yeah. Kulusevski is kind of questionable. He's inconsistent. And we just don't have the quality to come off for people to come off the bench and to make a difference. Our top or like our starting 11 is fantastic, phenomenal. But the fact that if somebody gets injured, it could all go downhill. And that stuff's going to happen. There's going to be bumps in the road. You know, there's 30 games left.
Exactly.
So
and I think that's a problem that a lot of squads are going to face, right? Just naturally they will. And there are some squads that are better equipped to deal with it, like Man City or Chelsea. But
yeah, sure. And I've gotten excited, you know, because we've been top of the league before. I think with Jose, I think we're top of the league in December, you know, and I got my hopes up then. Pochettino 2016, I got my hopes up. So I'm just trying not to do that again. I'm trying to like stay realistic and just be like, you know what, it's just we're only 8 games in. We're looking good, but you know, things will happen in the season that we won't have any control of, and then we can't, you know, we'll see what happens in January, right? We have another transfer window, so we'll see what happens.
I'll tell you what's gonna happen. You guys are gonna drop down to 7th place. United's gonna pass you, and you're gonna owe me some money.
Yeah, is that you made the bet? You made the bet, right?
Yeah, we did.
I did. Yeah, that's why I was so upset when McTominay got that second goal. I was like, are you kidding me?
That's right. There's 30 games. It's a long time to shake out. There's lots of injuries. There's, like you said, there's another window. There's all that stuff to go.
Oh,
yeah, of course. Okay, so moving on a little bit to Man City. Man City losing. That's the 3rd game, right? In 2 competitions, third game they've lost in 2 weeks, I think, right? So that's got to be a long time since that's happened. I wish I knew actually, but pretty wild. How do they lose? There's a big game. Arsenal beat them at home. Late winner. What do we think?
They got the injuries right now. They do. Kevin De Bruyne is not in there. Rodri's not in there. I mean, those are obvious stuff, right?
Like, I thought Rodri was a massive miss. I think they had Bernardo Silva playing holding midfielder, which he's a quality player, but I don't know if that's his wheelhouse. Obviously he can do it. Just didn't really, I don't think it worked too well.
Gundogan also they got rid of him. He went to Barcelona, so they don't have that kind of like holding number 6 role anymore. And
without Rodri,
really hurting them.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. Kelman, what do you think? Or Brian?
I was gonna say I was surprised when I saw Bernardo dropping so deep. Obviously, we know he just he's up front. He's a creator. I was a little surprised that Núñez didn't get the start and was in that role. I thought he would fill in there for Rodri, but yeah, I mean, we all obviously it was the game of the week, and it was probably one of the more boring games that we watched of the week up until the goal. There wasn't really much in it. Haaland didn't get his chances. To be fair to Saliba, I mean, he pocketed him again, so I think we all know that he loves a good matchup with Erling. But yeah, I thought it was a good game. I think Arsenal were a bit fortunate to come out with a win, and I think City were definitely unlucky not to get at least a point from the game.
Yeah, it was pretty. I have to agree. I thought it was kind of boring, to be honest. It was kind of slow, not even that tactical per se. It was kind of just like one team setting up against another team. Arsenal with a little bit of a higher block than Man City's. It was relatively transitional, but then there were times where the tempo was kind of dead. So it was a bit of a weird one.
Right.
It's kind of Erling.
It was a big statement for Arsenal because I read somewhere, I think it was on Twitter, where if Arsenal would have gotten just a draw in any of the games last season against Man City, they would have won the title with just a draw, right? And so this is a big, what's the word?
It's a statement win, right? Yeah,
it's a turning point for Arsenal.
If you want to be the best, you have to beat the best. So that's it, really simply. Kelman, what do you think? Did you see?
Yeah, I did. And before I get into that, you said it earlier, the losses. It's actually the first time since 2018 that they lost 2 Prem games in a row.
2018.
2018, they lost to Leicester and Crystal Palace back to back.
Thank you for that stat check.
Wild. So I mean, obviously they're a little better teams that they lost to this time. Throwing Newcastle in there too, but still they don't lose back to back games, and so obviously it's a concern, but it's not because like you guys all said, the injuries, Rodri being out. Rodri being out is huge, but just the combination of him and De Bruyne being out. They can win with one of them out, but with both of them out, it's a lot tougher.
And Rodri's coming back too. So City are not going anywhere. Like they're just I think 2 points off. So they'll be back firing at full cylinders soon. So that's what I think.
Yeah.
Still for me, nothing to worry about. The biggest concern of everything I would say is Haaland a few games in a row without scoring and getting involved. So
Varane, you nailed it, right? Saliba's been pocketing him, huh? He's holding him.
I mean, not just
down.
Scoring, he can't even touch the ball.
Yeah,
I mean, we all know that he's up there just to poach goals, tap him in, whatever. But even then, in a game like that, I feel like just to change up the dynamic a little bit, like you almost needed him to be a bigger presence in the game to kind of take the eyes off of everyone else and allow that to free up everyone else to have a little bit more room to operate and to work in between the lines. But he was just non-existent.
Yeah,
they needed Silva to be able to cross balls to him, but instead he was playing the back midfielder role, and they didn't have anybody to give him like those crosses like Kevin De Bruyne usually does. So
they changed. I think when they put Doku on and he played a little bit wider, it was similar to that. And I think Kelman's, when we play fantasy, Kelman's picks Alvarez, who's been fantastic all year. But I thought, to be honest, he was a little bit underwhelming in this game in terms of I thought this was one maybe when Haaland's had to struggle a little bit. Haaland's maybe occupying 2 center backs at a time. At any given time, they're kind of doubling on him. So there's that pocket of space like you talked about, Brian, in front where I thought Alvarez really could have excelled. He's done well, but when I thought it was like his moment to step up, and I thought that kind of shows that he's not like top tier yet, but I think he very much will be soon. But a better player might take advantage of that kind of situation, and use those gaps. And at least that's what I recall from the game. Might be a little bit different, but that was just maybe a little bit of naivety from him, maybe a little bit of still a little bit young, raw. So we'll see.
Yeah. I could say this is also a game where you want someone who can play the false 9 rather than Haaland. Clearly it wasn't going. So where they missed the Jesus, where he can come back and actually play in the midfield a little bit, but you just have Haaland who doesn't get involved in the game unless he's scoring a goal. But obviously, none of us are talking about it, but we can't take anything from Arsenal. They were without Saka all game. Martinelli came in at halftime and just changed the whole game completely, because the first 20 minutes, Man City were destroying them. And then Martinelli comes in at half and just against Walker as well, and just making Walker work so hard and look like he didn't belong.
Yep.
Yeah, he's so pacey, isn't he, Martinelli? I mean, even on Walker, which is like he's probably the fastest player in the Premier League.
Yeah.
I mean, when he comes in with fresh legs, Martinelli can make anybody look slow. So, yeah. Wow.
Yeah, it's been a different change. I imagine if we had DJ in here, we would have heard about a lot more about Arsenal, but that's okay. I think we can. That's his punishment for missing out this week. So, yeah.
Let's talk about that Kovacic challenge.
Yeah, my God, man. The first one I thought maybe was a red, and then the second one I was like, definitely a second yellow, if not a red on its own. So,
yeah.
What's going on there? I don't know, but sketch.
I'm confused why we're getting red cards for the same stuff going on.
Yeah.
Me and Kuma were arguing about this the whole time.
Yeah.
Like the first one for sure, in any ref's opinion, one way or the other could have been a red. Some refs might give it, some refs might just give it yellow. After the second one, it's like, dude, get him off the pitch.
The second one's a second yellow at the very least.
Least.
And it happened 2 seconds afterwards. So I don't know how he didn't give him a I think he must not want to ruin the game or something, because it's
it makes me think that he got paid a lot for that that decision. He wants to keep it exciting or whatever,
Yeah.
But I mean, if that first challenge hadn't existed, like pretend like that first challenge hadn't existed, right? And he had done that second challenge without anything, that would have been for sure yellow.
That's yellow for sure.
All well, exactly. And I think that's how you can't ignore the fact that it must be like to not ruin the game.
I didn't think the first one was a red, in my opinion. Just like I didn't think the Liverpool one was a red, but the second one, yes. Obviously, you can't go to VAR for the second one for a second yellow, but it is what it is.
I agree. Okay, so to top that one off, speaking about Spurs, 2 teams undefeated at the top, Arsenal and Spurs. Going into the international break, injuries are plenty, perhaps, whatever, tired players. How do we think they're going to come out the other side? Are they going to stay top? I know Arsenal have Newcastle and Chelsea, I think, away. Spurs a little easier, couple of games, but also Spurs have played 5 away games and Arsenal have played 3. So what do we think? How are they going to go coming out of the international break?
It's a tough couple matchups for Arsenal coming out the break for sure. I mean, Newcastle's no joke, as we saw. Like, they're a big team. They got my boy Isak up front. Love that guy scoring goals. But I think both teams have enough quality where they're just going to come back just like they left. Like, they're going to be firing on all cylinders. I think we're not going to see too many shakeups in the squad. Hopefully for Arsenal, a little bit of a break for Saka. We'll give him time to come back and recover, and he can get back on the pitch. But I don't see too much changing from those 2 teams. I mean, like I said, they just have so much quality on the pitch that it's not really going to affect them.
Sure. Fair enough. What do you think, Parker?
Yeah. I said this earlier, but I think Arsenal have a better bench than us. So I think overall, Arsenal will finish above us. But let's see. As far as like just players go, I think Rice is just a huge player for Arsenal. They finally have like that maturity, I think, that they didn't have last year in Declan Rice. And I just think he's just a great player. He always just takes out, that attacking threat before they even get to Saliba or Gabriel Gabriel. So I think, he's just a huge difference maker for Arsenal. But, I mean, who knows what's going to happen in the next couple games, but I still think Arsenal, unfortunately, are going to finish above Tottenham, even though I bet DJ another $100 on that one. But
you're going broke this year. You're going broke this year.
No, I'll probably break even. That's what I think. But who knows? Right. I mean, I still think Arsenal are stronger, though. Sorry, go ahead.
No, there you go, Kelman. What do you think?
Our Arsenal are obviously still a top team, and they'll stay up there throughout the year. Spurs are
immediately after the international break. They're undefeated though. Now, like, I'm pushing you. What do you think? These 2, are they going to stay undefeated? Who's going to lose first?
Who's going to lose? I think Arsenal will lose first, just because that schedule. I think the Newcastle is going to be the big game. But Spurs are also very lucky to not have any European football to worry about. So less games, less injuries, less hammies being pulled, especially for Madison, because we already know when he's out, Spurs are going to be done. And it's only a matter of time before that happens still, because either way, he's not used to playing European football and still gets injured. So, but overall, Spurs are going to eventually start losing because United are going to finish higher than them.
Of course.
And I need that to happen. So
so it was written, right?
Yeah.
I agree.
But I think Arsenal, like I said earlier with Rice, they're already better because they hadn't beat Man City last year, and they already did it this year. So it just proves that they are getting better. They're improving on what they're.
I'm interested to see how they do once they have maybe like one more European game. Once they're really in the thick of the schedule, how they rotate. I'm really interested to see that. And in terms of these two, I think those are, like you said, Baran, massive games. I think Chelsea away, it doesn't matter what state Chelsea's in. That's like a game you kind of have to win. And then definitely Newcastle, especially someone that's challenging around the top of the table. Those are the games you have to win. And then it's away again. And that can be a very tough place to go to. So loud, raucous atmosphere. We'll see how they go. It's very interesting.
I don't know if we were talking about this, but you said what state Chelsea are in as if they're in a bad state, but they have been unbelievable the last few games.
Yeah, that's true.
All season, honestly, they've been really good. They just couldn't score, and they have a top gaffer over there.
Everyone loves Pochettino, huh?
He's so good. I love him.
Yeah, interesting.
And they're starting to score goals. Palmer came in and changed that team. I don't know if this was going to be a discussion or not.
Go for it.
Yeah. I think that's a huge one, and then away at Chelsea is tough.
Yeah, Cole Palmer just like straight up went into the club and just stole the winger role straight up from, I forget his name, like Chuko Menga or something like that.
There were a few guys. They're rotating. Sterling is still there too on a wing.
He's got the confidence though.
As a young man coming through from the academy, he hadn't he's played 2 years at City, if that, and it's like 40 mil or something they paid for him. So it's a lot of money for someone that hasn't played a lot. But then exactly like you said, Kel, whenever I've seen him play for Chelsea, I thought he's actually been very good. Changed the tempo, done something special, done something different. Not just like not a passenger. So
and he's a player that doesn't want to sit on the bench like at Man City. Like he's like, no, I want to play. He goes to another top club, like Chelsea, but he's already taking the spots from players that, I think Chinko Manga, whatever, his is like his buddy actually from England. So there's like some like drama there, I guess, because he took his spot or something. I don't know. That's what I've heard from Chelsea fans, that he's just like an alpha male.
Chelsea fans know all about the drama.
Cole Palmer. He's taking penalties. He's like 18 years old or 19 taking penalties. He's just he's got that confidence.
I thought something else interesting about Chelsea is that they have Conor Gallagher as their starting captain last game. I think even though Thiago Silva was on the field, so that was maybe maybe that shows something about where the locker room is. Not that Thiago Silva would be anything negative, but obviously they may be planning a little bit for the future, and if that's part of the core, like an English core, they're trying to get.
Yeah, maybe that's the way they're going. For you. That's what I remember from when Pochettino's at Spurs, just giving the young players an opportunity, giving them the confidence, giving them the captain's armband. Why not? So.
Yeah, sure. Okay, one of the last topics, and once again, maybe fortunate that DJ is fortunate or unfortunate that DJ is not here. Yeah. I want to know Odegaard or Maddison. Right, we focused a lot on Arsenal and Spurs, but that's okay, I think, because they're the top of the table. They're both undefeated. So you tell me, Odegaard or Spurs, who is the better player?
Odegaard or Maddison?
My mistake. Sorry, I said Spurs, didn't I? Odegaard or Maddison?
It's an easy one.
I guess you want a whole team over him. Go for it, Parker. You say your piece first. I'd like to hear from a Spurs fan first.
Okay. I think that Maddison has completely changed the way Spurs play. Just changed the way we attack. It's given us the confidence to say we can beat any team we play, go to toe-to-toe against anybody. We have Maddison in there. Odegaard is also very good. I think Maddison is a better, attacking player, in and around the box. But then, Odegaard can, create something out of nothing, all the way back on their half, He kind of reminds me of a Pirlo, where he just can pick somebody out anywhere.
Sure.
Odegaard, I mean, reminds me of Pirlo. But I think Madison, I fancy Madison in a free kick, corners. I think he's a better dribbler. I think he works harder. I think he tracks back more defensively. I mean, you can just watch it. I mean, Madison's always going back and forth. And Madison just changes the way we play, you know. And Odegaard is a big influence at Arsenal too. Don't get me wrong. No disrespect on Odegaard. I don't want somebody saying if I ever say something bad about Odegaard, something's going to happen or something like that. But
yeah,
I totally respect Odegaard. I think he's a great player. Right, he can do a lot on the pitch.
But so gun to your head, who do you choose?
But Madison for sure.
Madison.
I don't think anyone's going to get mad at you for that, but I think someone's going to start getting mad at you if you call him Odegaard one more time instead of Odegaard. All right? And that someone might be me.
Odegaard?
Odegaard. There's no N in there.
Look, he's a friend of the show. Just call him Martin, right? No big deal.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
Okay. Yeah, my bad.
We got James and Martin. It's no big deal.
That's all right. Since I started talking, I'll jump into this one.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go Odegaard. I think playing against Arsenal, you're just sitting back in banks of 4 and just defending all game and not letting anyone be creative. And they're not at that yet with Spurs. So so Madison has a lot more space to be creative. And he is very creative. He's awesome and he's showing it. But if he's in the same circumstances Odegaard is, I don't know if he'd be able to look how he looks now. So that's my big thing with the difference.
Well, he was also at Leicester, you know, before this, and Odegaard has been at Arsenal for a couple years, right? And we've seen what he can do at Arsenal, but now finally Madison is at a club where like he has great players around him, and just look at the numbers he's, you know, pulling up right now. So
no, definitely, I agree with that. We'll see all season if he keeps it up, and like I said, when they do start backing down. And defending all game if he can still continue to be creative.
So make a decision, Kel. Which one?
Odegaard.
Odegaard?
Yep.
All right, Baran, where we at?
This season, value to a team, I think Madison's a little bit more valuable to Spurs right now than Odegaard is to Arsenal. I think what he's done in his first year there, changing how they're playing, creating. But I just think Odegaard's a better player. And for me, I'm taking Odegaard all day long. Like Helmo said, I love the creativity he has. I love how smooth he is on the ball. And one of my favorite things about him is he's a risk taker. Like he'll try that, you know, Trivella pass to try and split the defense. And as a fan watching that, I love it. But I'll give Madison credit. I think right now he's more valuable to Spurs than Odegaard is to Arsenal at this point. But I think just as a player, if I have to choose one for my squad, I'm taking Odegaard or I'm taking Martin all day long.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Once again, we'd love to hear DJ's take on this, and maybe I'll ask him anyway at some point. Sorry, Parker. I got to go Odegaard too. I think for all the same reasons for the most part. I like the intangible things as well. I bet Odegaard is amazing in that dressing room as a captain. I think he looks the part. I think he seems always calm and composed. That's what I want. I don't necessarily want the Bruno part where it's always whining and that kind of deal, which honestly I see a little bit in Madison. So I prefer that about Odegaard. I feel like he's much more measured. Naturally, in a weird way, I like left footers as well. So those are the two things that weren't mentioned, but for all the other same reasons, I think Odegaard's just a little bit class above. But I would have to agree with Baran. I think that Madison's bigger for Spurs. But then again, you take Odegaard out, we'll see what happens, you know? So he's been in there for a while. Maybe Arsenal would crumble without that kind of steadfastness in the middle. So we'll see. But yeah, I think 3 for Odegaard and 1 for Madison, which is fair, I think.
I respect it. I respect Odegaard for sure.
There you go. That's right.
Relearn how to say his name, apparently.
No. Last thing we'll touch on, just because it happened, yesterday or 2 days ago or something, Eden Hazard retiring. So, or we can talk about VAR, which is fine.
Oh.
Either one, it doesn't really matter. So, talk to me about VAR quickly. Then we'll finish off talking about Eden Hazard. So, Baran, I feel like you should lead the charge on a little bit of talking about VAR. So give me your thoughts. How's it been going this season? Where do you think it's hampered? Where do you think it's helped? Give me your thoughts.
I think VAR should be goal line technology. I think we need to give referees a little bit more freedom to manage the game. Obviously, we all know every referee is a little bit different, but I think that's been a part of the game for so long. Goal line technology, offsides, obviously we got screwed that game, but I think for the referees, the cards, things like that, like let them make that decision. You know, that's why they're there. That's why we have referees, and those emotions are part of the game as well. Obviously, growing up, we've all seen games where it's like, hey, this specific referee, we know like he's very stingy, you know, he's not going to let things slide. And then you have other referees, they let the game flow a little bit, they let things go on. Sure. So for me, it's mostly just offsides, goal line tech, things like that would be perfect in my mind for VAR. Everything else, just let it happen. Let the referees do their thing. That's why they're there. That's what they train to do.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Parker, what do you think?
I think they've progressed so much with VAR that, you know, we'd like to see it go away, but it won't. I think if anything, it'll probably get more intense somehow, or I don't know how, but, you know, they'll find a way to, you know, use technology even more than what it's used today. So I think, you know, everybody's been screwed over. Every team, you know, one way or the other has been screwed over by VAR at least once. So, but I think we just accept that it's part of the game now. And, you know, we might not like it, but the more we complain about it and stuff, the worse it gets. I think we just accept that it's part of the game now. And
but isn't that why they started VAR? Right? Because people were upset that referees were making mistakes.
Yeah, they wanted clarity, right?
So then they bring in VAR, and now mistakes are still happening. So if mistakes weren't happening, I'd be like, hey, VAR is great. It's working. The game is getting better, referees, all that. But I think the fact that we have it now and there's still these big mistakes going on is what's upsetting as a fan to see that happen.
And it's worse that there's mistakes now because
exactly,
because they're reviewing it and they're still making a mistake rather than a actual human error mistake. So it's even worse like that.
Yeah, we've already seen the dialing back of handballs and stuff, right? Handballs have gone from one thing to another thing, and they're talking about even changing the offside rule to make it like the last part of someone's leg or whatever. I don't know. Honestly, my issue with it is now it's unclear. I'm very unclear with what, you know, you can go and check like a dangerous tackle, but not to change a second yellow to a red. Something, you know, there are a lot of these things. Are they checking for offside? Are they checking, you know, and obviously they're confused too, like we saw in the Liverpool game. So it's a little bit in its infancy. I would have to say maybe the Premier League or football or FIFA or whatever kind of ran before it walked a little bit. So we're kind of catching up and kind of maybe implemented things too early. I'd have to agree, Baran. I think like the goal line technology is that's an easy thing, right? Does it go across the line? Yes. Lights on my watch? No, it didn't. Right. So that's super simple. When we start getting into interpretation of rules, interpretation of handball, was it behind his back? Was it in a non-human position because he's an alien? You know, like who knows? There are a lot of these things which are relatively unclear. And like you said, like Parker touched on it, I don't think it's going to go away. You know, it's one of those things that hopefully they start catching up and start making it a little bit better. But yeah, I think it's still gonna be a way. I don't think you can put that genie back in the bottle, you know?
Yeah, I got a few things I want to say on this too, because I agree with everything you and Budan said about offside and goal line. You're making a decision that's an opinion. You're taking that away from the head ref and making it still an opinion call with the ref that's not even involved in the game. Who's watching the game, and he gets to watch it in slow motion, a pause of the cleat showing on the guy's foot. Of course, it's going to look different. And then another part I wanted to mention, I was thinking of it today, is that let's say one of the best refs, what's his name, Michael Oliver, is the VAR official. In his mind, he's the best ref, so he's going to be like, okay, well, I'm the best. I'm going to make this decision change. I'm good. Or if someone who's not as good is the VAR official, he's going to say, well, Michael Oliver didn't call it, so I'm not going to go in and tell him to change it because he knows what he's doing.
Yeah,
we're gonna have to contact the Referees Association and get.
You have no idea what they're thinking. It's just again, it's just someone's
so
opinion.
Inconsistent. That's what I hate about it. It's like what Karan said earlier. Is like we could have gotten or like we got sent off against Spurs with those red cards, but Manchester City didn't with the same exact. I know every referee is different, so we kind of have to like adjust to each referee. You're like, okay, this guy's a little bit more tough or whatever, a little bit more harsh.
Yeah,
and that's what Baran kind of touched on. I agree with that. I think, you got to adjust, and that's how it's been for hundreds of years. But at the end of the day, we just have to accept that people are going to make mistakes and just move on. Like, just move on. Sure. I don't even want to talk about it. It's just like,
How do you feel? How do you feel like that, Baran? Just move. You're not replaying the game. Just move on. It happened. Let it go.
I'd be in a much better place if VAR wasn't here, and in the City game, it was like, okay, like that ref didn't want to give him a second yellow, whatever. But the fact that there is VAR and they can go and look and see these things, that's what bothers me. So if it's just like, oh, hey, this referee's consistent. A little bit more he's just a little bit more lenient, so he let the game go. Okay, so be it. But the fact that they can go and see and they have processes in place, that's what bothers me.
Yeah, like the referee on the field was like really convinced that second a foul wasn't a yellow, so they didn't even review it because he was so convinced. Like, no. So they're like, yeah, if he thinks it should be reviewed, then it shouldn't. But I think that probably should have been reviewed a little bit more.
Yeah, it's like, where do you draw that line between like how do we know to check and how do we know not to check? And then what is that again, Kelmo? That's another opinion of a referee.
Yep.
You just don't have it. Let that ref make that decision in real time. It's simple.
Okay, moving on quickly. Last topic. Couple minutes left. Talk to me about Eden Hazard. Where does he rank? All-time greats. He's retired. He's 32, which is kind of young in terms of retirement age. What do we think? I think he probably terrorized Spurs a little bit more than either of our two clubs, even though he's got a couple of bangers against Liverpool. So, Parker, can I get some of your thoughts first? I want to hear, are you happy that he's retired? He's not going back to Chelsea to tear you apart again? Or...
Yeah, he definitely saved up his money at Real Madrid, so he was able to retire at 32. That's for sure. But yeah, no, he terrorized us. That's true at Spurs. I mean, he took the title away from us when he scored that goal against us, and Leicester ended up, ahead of us. So yeah, we have nightmares about Eden Hazard. He's just absolutely fantastic. He goes in, right in with the greats. Salah. Yeah. I would say Gareth Bale.
Yep.
Son. So,
almost not. I'd say maybe not yet.
Not yet.
Son not there yet, but there are some other ones.
He's got a golden boot.
I still don't think he's up there personally. But so, Baran, tell me, what do you think? Eden Hazard retiring. Thoughts on Hazard?
I mean, I've loved that guy for a very long time. Although, like you say, he scored a couple of bangers against my club. I think for me personally, like my Premier League all-time front three is Suarez, Ronaldo, and Henry. Okay. And I think he falls right behind.
Oh yeah.
I think he falls right behind. It's tough. I mean, Salah obviously is going to be up there. There's a bunch of greats that we can just go and rattle off. But I mean, amazing career. He did big things at Chelsea. I was kind of sad when he went to Madrid, and then the way his career kind of panned out, I was looking forward to him kind of being the successor of the number 7 over there. But obviously things didn't work out. But yeah, for me, all top 5 easy Premier League forward player for sure.
Yeah, he's definitely in that pool, isn't he? Kelman, do you remember when he signed? Do you remember what happened? So he almost signed for United, if you guys didn't know. But then Chelsea won the Champions League that year. So that meant that they went back into the Champions League the following year because they got automatically drawn into it. Otherwise, he was going to join United. And he chose Chelsea because they won the Champions League. So
wow.
He could have... Do you remember that, Kel? He could have played for us, I remember, because he was playing for Lille and they just won the French title and they were doing really, really well. And he was the next big thing. And then Chelsea went in.
I remember when he signed for Chelsea, but I didn't know that he was, a conversation for Manchester United. It was just because they won the Champions League. And because I think they got like fifth that year, Chelsea. So they weren't.
They were super far. That was when Mourinho got sacked, I think. And that was with Di Matteo. Wait, no.
Roberto Di Matteo, yeah.
Yeah, that's when he won. Yeah, it was 2012. They beat Bayern. Anyway.
It was they had Vias Boas or something like that. And then they maybe not. I don't know. Who knows?
That era of time. Kelman, talk to me about Talk to me about Eden Hazard.
You guys all know me and how all I care about more than anything is watching games rather than looking at stats. And Hazard is a prime example of that. Yeah. If you look at his stats compared to even someone like Rashford, I always use Rashford. If you show stats head to head, 9 out of 10 people, if they don't watch games, are picking Rashford. And I will take Hazard with 0 legs over Rashford.
Yeah.
That guy is just unbelievable. The closest thing we've ever seen style-wise to Messi. The guy has a magnet on his foot.
Yeah.
Dribbles through everyone, dances through everyone. It's insane what he did with Chelsea. And I definitely miss watching those days, even though it was against United. Just watching him, it was just you couldn't help but smile watching him play.
I think his best goal was against Arsenal, right? Remember that one he took?
No, the best goal was against Spurs that you mentioned.
That was one that went top ends.
Yeah, that one was also. That gives me nightmares. I don't even want to talk about that.
Yeah.
PTSD.
But yeah, you guys were putting him on that ranking scale, and my scale is right up there with Neymar and who else is up there right next to Neymar? I don't know, but he's way past everyone you named. Past Salah, past Bale, past.
You think past Bale?
Him and Bale are close, but I still think past Bale. And he is in my front 3 all-time Prem. He's so good.
Hazard is.
Yeah.
Well, who else is in your all-time front 3?
It's
really
Henry, Hazard, and Ronaldo.
Henry, Hazard, and Ronaldo.
You think he was better? You think he was better than Suarez?
There's a lot of players that you're leaving out, like just kind of casually. But
a lot, yeah, of course. But
I know you're always going to leave somebody out.
You got to leave someone out, and Hazard is, especially if you have them playing in a game. Hazard will fit in best with whoever you put around him. He's going to fit in the best with.
He's one of those players that has that, like you said, Messi kind of dribbling technique. He's like got that super low center of gravity. I think Matoma has that as well for Brighton. There are probably a couple others around there. Small little like changes of direction. Like you never really saw him do many scissors or maybe many tricks or anything because he's just chopping and changing really, really quickly. He's getting low and no one can knock him off the ball. It's that kind of thing that's just kind of natural, that really set him apart, I think. He's so strong, kind of like Salah in that he's a small lad, but he's strong. You're not going to push him off the ball. So,
and I love John Terry's story about him being the
not lacing up his boots at training.
Yeah, laziest person, eating whatever he wants, and then all of a sudden he goes in the game and just destroys everyone.
Turns it on when he needs to. Gaffer, let me know when you need me on.
But that explains why he's retiring at 32 because he just didn't care.
Injuries, I think. So he went to Madrid, and he was injured for. I think there was that stat or something where he'd play. He'd been there for 600 days. He'd been injured for like 500 of them or something like that. Whereas it's just a bit somebody that had only Jude Bellingham had played more minutes for Real Madrid, like 5 games in than he had his whole time or something like that. Which is pretty.
If he really wanted to, he could go back to Belgium and play like for a random team.
Could go back to. To be honest, I don't know where he started his career. Actually, I might look that up afterwards. I know he was at Lille, but I don't know if he came through the academy there.
He's done.
Sure. But
he's done. He's gonna go party his life away.
Yeah, he's pretty. Yeah, gonna enjoy his. Well. Yeah. Okay, guys. Great week, and we'll catch you guys next time.
All right. See you later.